Okay, we're doing homework 7.1. This is a brand new topic, therefore I highly recommend to watch the lecture in statistics underscore lecture playlist, and it's going to be chapter 7.1 and 7.2. So get familiar with hypothesis test, claim, hypothesis test, and decision you are going to make. So I would highly recommend to watch these videos first of all before you do this homework. So let me start working on it. All right, so first question, what do we have here? What are two types of hypothesis tests used in hypothesis test? How are they related? So there are two types of hypothesis test, null and alternative. Null it's what we test, and alternative is a complement, meaning the opposite one. So there are two hypothesis claims, two hypotheses exist out there. Okay, let's check. Excellent. Moving to next. How are they related? They are complements, I already said. So those are, here it is. Complement meaning the opposite to each other. If null it says 40%, alternative gonna say 60%, or if null it says greater equal, then alternative is gonna be less. If null says greater, then alternative gonna be less. So opposite operations. Question number 2. Okay, let's see. What are the two decisions you can make from performing hypothesis test? So real quick, what means hypothesis test? When somebody claims something and you don't know how true it is, or is it is false, you are doing hypothesis test. And what two decision can come out from performing hypothesis test? One is going to be failing to reject null hypothesis. Here it is F. And where is the other one? The other one is going to be reject null hypothesis. Okay? So reject the null hypothesis and fail to reject null hypothesis. Those are going to be result. Why we're talking only about null and we're not talking here alternative? Because we always, they said it's innocent unless it's proven otherwise. So we accept whatever they claim is true. And whatever is test, it's going to be placed in the null hypothesis always. And based on result, outcome for test over null hypothesis, you can draw the complement result for alternative hypothesis. So which means if we test null hypothesis, it's going to be either rejecting null hypothesis or failing to reject. Failing to reject meaning accept. So in statistics, we don't use accept null hypothesis. We use the word reject or fail to reject. And they are two complements, okay, meanings. Next question. Determine whether the statement is true or false. If it is false, rewrite it is as a true statement. All right, let's see what we have. In a hypothesis test, you assume that alternative hypothesis is true. Okay. In the hypothesis test, we assume that alternative hypothesis is true. We never assume alternative hypothesis is true. We always assume hypothesis test is true. Therefore, this is going to be false. So in hypothesis test, we always assume null hypothesis is true. Remember in previous question I explained, we always test null hypothesis. And in the lecture also you can understand once you listen lectures. Okay. Next one. Use a given statement to represent the claim. Now we are going to learn how to put in the language of statistics all these claims, null and alternative hypothesis. So first thing, it says, write its complement and state which is null hypothesis and which is alternative. O or 0, it's a null hypothesis, and H alpha or A, that means alternative. So how do we identify? So the claim is mu. Mu is a mean of the population. It says less or equal 292. Because the equal sign, whenever you see equal sign, it doesn't matter. It's only equal or less equal or greater equal. If equal sign present, then this is gonna go as a null hypothesis, which means that's value gonna be tested. So it says less equal to 92. That means given is null hypothesis, which means complement is gonna be greater than 292, right? So entire line of numbers, it's either less or equal or greater than. Or if less than or equal is our null hypothesis, then greater is going to be our alternative one. Or complement. Alternative is complement to null hypothesis. Okay. Next one, what do we have? Which one is going to be null? Which one is going to be alternative? So since our claim is mu is less equal to 92, which means that this one is given, null hypothesis is given. Let's find the one where null hypothesis is given. So we have less equal, okay, which means alternative is going to be greater than. So null hypothesis is going to be less equal, alternative is going to be greater than, and that is going to be B. Okay? You can't have, look at the H option here. You cannot have equal sign in both cases. Equal sign is going to be only and only in the case of null hypothesis, because whichever we are testing only null hypothesis, and we are always taking with a condition that whatever claim it we take as a truth. Therefore, we use equal sign. So in this case is less equal, and complement, which means alternative, it's going to be greater than. So notation goes like that. Null hypothesis, the colon, and then mu less equal to 92. And then alternative colon, mu is greater to 92. You don't, it's not a rule to put always null hypothesis first. You can put first alternative one, doesn't matter at all. It's just a habit, they put first a null hypothesis. That's just about it. Okay, moving to next question. What do we have here? Write the claim as a mathematical statement. Let's read it. For statement below, write the claim as a mathematical statement. State the null and alternative hypothesis and identify which represents the claim. Okay, here is the statement that we're going to express in math way. A laptop manufacturer claims that the mean life of the battery for certain model of laptop is less than 7 hours. Well, at once, using my practicality in life, I can say that cannot be true, because I haven't seen any battery that is less than or even close to 7 hours. Yeah, the only way it can last close to 7 hours, when you buy brand new laptop, you don't upload anything, it's completely empty, only operating system, and open and let it run. In that case, it might take close up to 7 hours, but this is exaggeration, so claim is always exaggeration in this case. Okay, let's see. It says less than. Less than doesn't have equal sign, right? Which means mu is less 7 hours. Which means in the word problem is given alternative because equal sign is missing. Okay, so it's gonna be here less than. Mu is less than 7 hours. Fantastic. Next one. So, well, let's see what's going to happen. Since in our choice mu is less than 7, that was correct answer. We don't have equal sign. That means it's going to act like an alternative one. So let's find now at alternative hypothesis where mu is less than 7. Okay, I'm looking here in F, this one, and they cannot be equal sign in alternative because equal sign can be only in with the null hypothesis, and bingo, null hypothesis is complement. If alternative is less, null is going to be greater or equal. Moving to next question, number 7. Oh, we have one more question here. Okay, so identify which is the claim. Okay, the claim in this case is going to be the one that we said, where is it? Mu is less than 7, which means it's going to be alternative, right? Equal sign is missing. So here it is. The alternative hypothesis is mu is less than 7. That is going to be our claim. Moving to question number 7. Oh, wait a minute. This is question number 6. Okay. So what do we have here? An amusement park claims that the mean daily attendance at the park is at most is going to be what? Maximum, right? Maximum 18,000, and less or equal. If it's maximum 18,000, we are making interpretation it's 18,000 or less. So less or equal, and I'm choosing here B. Now, what is correct, null, and alternative? Since we have our claim is less or equal, so since we have equal sign, where I'm looking in null hypothesis less or equal case. Here it is, F, less or equal. And now alternative is going to be the complement, meaning greater than. All right. And what is going to be our claim? Identify the claim. Since in the first case here, we chose B, which is at most, meaning less or equal. So less or equal is our null hypothesis, which is give us less or equal. There we go. Because claim can be and null and alternative, whichever the word problem gives us. Question number 8. So, match each word or phrase with the definition. Okay, so what do we have here? Alternative, null, and then hypothesis. Okay, so it's a statement regarding a characteristic of one or more population. I say it's hypothesis. Okay, it's not getting here. Maybe I have to highlight them. Well, it's not getting there. So I'm telling you, it's a hypothesis is a statement, and it doesn't change anyhow. Maybe I have to highlight it and highlight on here. No, this one is not working, so I would in A. Okay, so it's hypothesis. Okay, a hypothesis is a statement regarding characteristics of one or more um, populations. Okay, next one. The whatever we have to pick is a statement of no change, no effect, or no difference. And it's going to be our null hypothesis. Null hypothesis. Okay, it doesn't let me pick. It's not working because it has to be that Java technology that will help. Looks like on iPad is not working. So the second is going to be null hypothesis statement of no change, no effect, and no difference. And the last one, accordingly, is going to be alternative hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis is a statement we are trying to find evidence to support. Okay, moving to question number 8. So what do we have? Here we are going to talk about types of error. The thing is, in statistics, it's nothing ever is 100%. Therefore, there is always space for error, okay? So they're distinguished type 1 and type 2 error for hypothesis test. What means type 1? What means type 2? Type 1, when your claim is correct, but it's not, when claim is true, but it's not accepted as a true, which means the claim is rejected. When your claim is true, but that true claim is rejected, meaning they don't believe you, let's say, then it's generating type 1 error. Type 2 error generates when the claim is false, but you believe it. You buy that lie. Let me put this way, rough, but very simple and clear explanation. So somebody is lying. It's going to be null hypothesis, and you buy that lie. You believe that lie. Believe it as a true. So type 2 error occurs when claim is false. Okay. But it's taken as a true. So let's read now, try to figure out type 1, type 2. So describe the type 1. Okay, what we gonna have here? A type 1 error, so what do we have here? Type 1 error will occur when the actual proportion of new customers who return to buy their next article of clothing is at least 80%, which is true, right? Is at least 80%, but you fail to reject that it's greater or equal 80%, which means this is going to be case. Okay, it was true, but we no, it is but we failed to reject. I'm sorry, failed to reject, which means we accept it. So let's check this one. B, the type 1 will occur when actual proportion of new customers who return to buy their next article of clothing is at least 80%, but you reject that proportion is at least 80%. Looks like it's this one. Let me read. Yeah, it definitely B. Okay. Let me read the D version here. Type 1 error will occur when actual proportion of new customers who return to buy their new article of clothing is no more than 80%, but you reject that null hypothesis is also no more. Seems to me there is in the statement here, okay, my apologies, I didn't even pay attention. In the word problem in the statement it says no more than, and here we have no more, so it's going to be D. There we go. I was wondering where is the statement and I didn't notice. Okay, so in the word problem it says a clothing store claims that no more than 80%. So we are picking D, although B also in general it's a true statement, but it says at least 80%. But our problem wants more than 80%. This is why we choose no more than 80%. Excellent. Next one, type 2 error. Type 2 error, let me repeat myself. When the claim is not true, but we fail to reject, which means we accept. So let me, I'm going to help you here. So type 1, you can take a note, or it's also very clear in the lecture. Type 1 error. It's when a claim is true, null hypothesis is true. Or let me put a better way. Hold on. Claim is true, but we reject it, meaning we don't believe. By the way, in this now in hypothesis, when you are doing drawing decision, you are using verbiage reject or fail to reject. Fail to reject, that replace accept, right? Okay. So type 1, when claim is true, but we reject that claim. Type 2 error, when claim is false, and we fail to reject, which means we accept. To reject that claim. All right? Okay, so let's go back to our problems. What happened? Looks like I lost it. Where is here is Leonard. Okay, we are solving problem number 8. I'll go over problem number 8 again, based on the case we have. So, the furniture store claimed that no more than 10% of its new customers will return to buy next piece of furniture. Okay, the claim is no more. So type 1 error will occur when the actual proportion of new customer who return to buy their next piece of furniture is at least. No, at least is not working. B, it's going to be no more. Okay, looks like the right claim. But you fail to reject. Correct. So the truth is no more, but no, but we reject. Okay, no, I'm wrong. Here is no more, but we reject. There, C. Is no more than 10%, but you reject the null hypothesis about proportion. Let's check it. Good job. Now choosing answer 2 for question number 7 or 8. I'm sorry, question number 8. So what is the second error for the same this statement? Furniture store claims that no more than 10% of its new customers will return and buy next piece of furniture. Okay, so second the type 2 error is when claim is false, but we fail to reject, right? Meaning we accept that false. Okay, so occur when actual proportion of new customer who return to buy their next furniture place is more than. Okay, looks like this condition gonna work because no, we need no more. Where is our no more? Which means we need to find more. Let me read every single one of them. It's just wording. Every single word you have to read and understand. Okay, when it's a claim is no more, that means the false claim is gonna be more, right? So the true claim is less equal, but in our case, we're gonna take it as at more than 10%. A type 2 error will occur when the actual proportion of new customer, I'm reading answer A, who earned return to buy a next piece of furniture is more than 10%, correct, which is false because supposed to be no more, but the claim here is more percent. But you fail to reject, bingo, and question of the A answer is going to be correct. We accept it, fail to reject meaning accept it. Okay. You just have to focus and read the answer. One more time, correct. Question number 9. What do we have here? Identify type 1 error. Okay. So what the statement is, percentage of college students who own cars is equal 35. Okay. So let me remind you, type 1 error when a claim is true, but we reject it, meaning we don't believe it. So, which means it's going to be reject, right? B or D, reject the null hypothesis that the percentage of college students who own car is equal 35 when it is actually true. There we go, B. Why D cannot be? Because it says equal 35 when it is actually false. But that's not the case. It's indeed equal 35. Its statement says. All right, let's check. Good job. Moving to second part. So the type 2 error. What do we have with type 2 error here? So to remind you, type 2 error when claim is false, but we fail to reject, meaning we buy that false, that lie. So it's if it says equal to 35, so the claim is going to be not 35, right? Not equal 35. But we fail to reject, meaning we accept it. So the answer is going to be either B or D. No, A or B. Okay, fail to reject. So, and I'm looking when 35% is actually false. That's it. Because when actually it's true, it's failed to reject, there is no error. It's indeed true, the case of B. It's true, and we failed to reject, so we accepted the truth, and there is no error. So error is when it's type 2 error, when its claim is false, when say equal 35, when it is actually false. But it's not false, it's true. And we fail to reject, so we buy that false. Okay. Okay, let me. All right, fantastic. Question number 10. Determine whether the claim stated below represent a null hypothesis or alternative. If a hypothesis test is performed, how should you interpret a decision that rejects the null hypothesis, or B, fails to reject null hypothesis? So what do we have? A scientist claim that the mean incubation period of eggs of birds is at most 52 days. Okay, so does the claim represent null hypothesis or alternative? When it says at most, that means maximum 52, and 52 included, right? So since the claim contains statement of equality, it represents null hypothesis, correct? Okay. Next one. So how should you interpret decision that rejects null hypothesis? So what do we have when we reject, then our claim is null hypothesis, right? So to reject, then we have to say there is sufficient evidence to reject the claim. And our claim is null hypothesis, correct? Next one, how should you interpret decision that fails to reject, meaning accept? That means we are using the words sufficient or insufficient. There is insufficient evidence to reject. Okay? So which means we accept it. There is not enough evidence to reject. And we fail to reject null hypothesis, meaning we accept it. Bingo. Moving to question number 11. All right, so what do we have here? At most 70%. All right, a report claims that at most 70% of households in a specific country struggle to afford basic necessities. Okay, so first let's identify what's a claim, null or alternative. Because it says at most, that means 70% or less. Equal sign in there, right? Since the claim contains a statement of equality, then we are dealing with null hypothesis. Okay, if it would say more than 70%, then our claim would be alternative, right? Hypothesis, because the claim would not contain the statement of equality. Okay. Fantastic. Next. How should you interpret decision that reject a null hypothesis? Okay, there is enough evidence to reject null hypothesis. Our claim is null hypothesis, so then we reject. Enough evidence to reject the claim that at most 70% of households struggle to afford basic necessities. B. How should you interpret a decision that fails to reject null hypothesis? Okay, if we are trying to make interpretation when we fail to reject, that's the case when there is not enough evidence to reject. Pay attention here. We say when we want to reject, we say there is enough evidence to reject, but we want When we want fail to reject, we say there is not enough evidence to reject. So one way or another, both cases we use the word reject. It's just what is creating the opposite meanings that complement. In one case we say there is enough evidence, in another case we say there is not enough evidence. Okay. Moving to question number 12. Okay, let's see what we're gonna get here. We have at most. Okay. So, a researcher claims that the standard deviation of the life of a certain type of lawn mower is at most 2.8 years. Okay, at most meaning less or equal, which means for null hypothesis, we say contains a statement of equality and it represents null hypothesis. Next one. So we need to interpret decision to reject. If we want to reject, what do we say? Okay, there is enough evidence. So we are saying in this case, what is given? When we are saying sufficient evidence to reject, right? Okay. Remember, in both cases, we use the word reject. In one case, there is enough or there is not enough. They used here sufficient or it's going to be insufficient in this case, because if we fail to reject, that means insufficient evidence to reject. And the opposite is going to be there is sufficient evidence, fail to reject, right? For our complement, for our alternative hypothesis. I know this can be confusing, or I hear you saying, yes, very much confusing. But I recommend to listen, watch the lecture. That would help you. And we go to question number 13, the very last question. An automotive manufacturer claims that standard deviation for the gas mileage of one of the vehicles is the manufacturer's is at most 2.8 miles per gallon. What is standard, by the way, standard deviation in this case? It's a kind of error, plus minus this much. Okay, that's why it says at most 2.8 miles per gallon. Some cars can use less per gallon, some cars can use 2.8, which means less or equal, right? So for case of null hypothesis, contains statement equality, then we use null hypothesis. We already learned it. And the second one is decision that rejects, which means we have what? Sufficient evidence to reject. Okay? And to fail reject, we have insufficient evidence to reject. So that's why we can't reject and we are failing to reject. Okie dokie, I'm done. So now it's your turn to turn around and work on your homework. See you in next homework.